Okay, come on up. No, no. The fork is not too tight. Hey guys, what's going on? This is Mike from Missouri, and we are back on the Cummins 4B engine disassembly. If you didn't see the first part where we tore down the short block and took the pistons out, I'll leave a link here on the video to go check that out. But I wasn't able to get to the head on that video because I didn't have an appropriate valve spring compressor. I was able to locate and borrow one, so I'm going to start taking the cylinder head down, and I already got all of the small stuff pulled off over here, all the plugs out and some of the fuel filter brackets and engine lift brackets and such removed from it. But the goal is to get it stripped and then cleaned up, and then hopefully we can inspect for some cracks. I guess I've done some reading that this engine has had an issue with cracking between the valve seats. Being this engine's a non-turbo, I would be very surprised if I saw any of that on this, but we're going to check it and see what we all need to do with it. All right, so like any cylinder head, you got to compress the valve spring and get the keepers out. It's not very difficult once you have a proper spring compressor. So I will start on this first. I think this is cylinder 4 actually, so the rear cylinder on the engine. This isn't an ideal compressor for this. I'd rather have the ones with just the fingers right here, but this is what I was able to locate. There's one keeper. All right, there's the second keeper. And I'll carefully undo this. Okay, it's called the spring retainer, valve spring. I'm going to try to keep everything organized per the cylinder that it came out, because I don't know if I'm doing an actual valve job on this, but I'm going to get the parts all stripped out of it, and then we'll go and check the guides and valve stems. So far, just wiggling the valve as I'm pulling it out. The guides feel really, really good. Give you a different view of how it works from the other side. That one was on there. Ooh, not good, not good at all. Still one keeper holding it. Don't really like doing that. It kind of seems like it might side load the valve stem, but these are pretty beefy stems, so I doubt it's going to hurt anything. And get the cylinder one here taken care of real quick. So spend a little time looking this head over. For the most part, I don't see anything too concerning, but need to get it cleaned up. I've been burned in the past by trying to inspect parts without cleaning them. We really need to get everything real clean so you can thoroughly check for cracks. Looking at some of the wear pattern on some of these valve seats, I don't know if it's just an illusion. It almost looks like some of the exhaust valves, like the seats wider on one side. Like I said, I need to get it cleaned up and look at it a little closer. As far as the look at cylinder one here, I mean the valves are basically what you would expect. They're not big, you know, U-shaped groove in it or anything. Retainers, I think the guides are all fine. I haven't measured them yet, but for the most part it looks pretty good. But let me get it cleaned up. I'm gonna get the scraper, scrape all this gasket material off, and then I'll probably hit it real lightly with a whizzy wheel just to clean it up a little more thoroughly. But yeah, let me get that done. Years of crud stuck in these crevices. Get the large stuff out here before I probably throw this in a parts washer. I'm going to show you guys the valve stem seals. I haven't looked at them myself. They are labeled. It's funny, they'll say EX on them, which I would think would be exhaust, but I'm not sure. As far as stiffness, I mean, they're not super brittle, but I definitely wouldn't reuse them. Okay, I'm going to use a kind of a wore out whizzy wheel on the surface, gasket surfaces. I had a 90-degree one that broke a while back, and I just haven't ever gotten around to replacing it. Got a nice leak here. I guess that would help if that was tight. Anyway, I would never do this on an aluminum cylinder head. If you're going to do it on a cast iron one, just be really careful. You can damage the surfaces pretty quickly. Well, that Whizzy wheel takes too many CFMs for this compressor. Let me show you. Beaver sent me this compressor. I'm just going to real quick mention some things about it. I did not pay for this, but I did need one. I had a little Harbor Freight red one, and it was only 1 CFM, and it was really loud. So I thought this would work good for portable, like air nailers and such. As you just saw, it's not big enough to run something like this. I don't know what this draws, but probably 6-7 CFM. This is only rated at 2.2, and it's almost a 5-gallon with the dual tanks. But overall, I like it. I was able to change tires on my on our van with an impact gun. I mean, I'm sure if you kept running the gun over and over and over, it'd eventually run down, but I was able to do 4 tires without having to stop or anything. I'll let you listen. It's actually pretty quiet. Works good for, you know, general stuff. So it's not too loud. It pumps up fairly quickly. I will say, when I unboxed it, first turned it on, it pumped up and this gauge went up into the red and the blow-off valve went off, and it kept doing that. I contacted Beaver and asked them if I could look it over or anything, if that would cause any issue or concern with them, and found I just took this cap off and the adjuster on the regulator was just adjusted too high. I think I turned it down about 3/4 of a turn, and that's all it was. But it should have been right, but not a big deal, and anyone that's doing shop stuff should be able to figure that out. But overall, I think it's a decent compressor for what it is. I think they're $175 free shipping. Could be a good option for you if you not close to a Harbor Freight or something like that. I think they're, you know, I'm all about made in the USA, but let's be real, guys. For if you could find an all made in the USA compressor, it would probably be almost $1,000, and unless you're using it commercially or for your everyday job, there's just no one's going to spend that kind of money. So you're pretty much, anything you're looking at this price point is going to be an import unit. So it's probably similar to any of the others you see in this price point, but overall I'm pretty happy with it, especially over the red one that I had from Harbor Freight, and I know they have some now similar to this as well. But anyway, enough of that. I just thought I'd show you. We'll move on to the engine again. Okay, I've spent a lot of time cleaning wire wheel, or soft wire wheel, and just the scraper in general. And visually, I don't see any cracks anywhere, but I am going to do a crack test with a dye penetrant. And the way this works is you give it a smooth, even coat, and you let it sit, and that stuff will kind of draw into any cracks, and then you wipe it off and then spray it. There's an actual, I use this baby powder in a can, basically, aerosol, and you spray it on, and that stuff kind of wicks it out of the crack to reveal the crack. But this isn't really what you're supposed to use, but it's similar to the actual name brand stuff. So let's get started. I'll show you how it's done. It does work quite well in revealing cracks that you wouldn't normally see. Now, it is important before you spray the dye on that you use a solvent cleaner that doesn't leave any residual. I usually use just like high percentage alcohol and try to get all the oil off. You have to get all the oil off, otherwise it'll give you false red indicators. And then you also want to let it dry for a while and spray it off with compressed air just so there's no of that solvent still wet anywhere. So you want the cracks to be dry to where they can absorb the dye. So we're going to go ahead and apply the dye. Get a good amount where the areas you suspect there could be cracks, so injector holes around the seats, between the seats. Now it's important to let this sit so any of the dye can soak down in the crack. All right, it's been, boy, at least 10 minutes, so gotta get all the dye cleaned off. And you don't want to leave really any residue at all, because then you're not going to be able to see the crack. There's a special cleaner that this company has you use, but I was going for cheap when I was using this on the frame of the skid steer, and I just don't see the need. If I was doing this every day professionally, it's a different story. All right, now I was having trouble with this can the last time I used it. It's got a defective one. Yep. It's annoying. I know this is probably a terrible idea. I've been messing with this thing for 10 minutes and I can get it to spray for a bit and then it gets clogged. I think the powder stuff, this thing sat on the shelf for too long and so yeah, it's very aggravating. Yeah, even when I punch the check ball out of it, it still doesn't want to work. Okay, anything for views, right? Sharp screw. You've got to be kidding me. Won't even work when I can put a hole in it. That'll be enough. All right, let it sit a little bit after I sprayed it on. Good news is I don't see any cracks. So that, it's powder. And you can see even around the holes how it kind of wicks. Kind of sucks it up. So if there were any cracks anywhere, it would see it pretty easily. These aren't cracks, they're just, the injector holes pulling the dye up from around the area. I couldn't get it out, but I'm happy to see that the head is crack free. All right, it's the following weekend. As you can see, some of the engine parts are trickling in here. Cylinder head, I ended up bringing it to Nolan's cylinder head in Kansas City because some of the valve seat widths where the valve contacts was wider than spec. So they are going to take a look at it and see what it all needs. Hope to have a separate video on that. Maybe a shop tour or something, but I don't know what I can work out just yet. But while that's over there, we need to refocus our efforts back on the block and get it ready for reassembly. Okay, I popped some of the core plugs out off camera. I just used a punch and tapped them and they came right out pretty easily. There's two large ones on the side, a large one on the front and back, and then on the behind the timing cover there's some oil galley ones and a couple of them over here. One there, and I thought there was one somewhere over here, but no, it's like a dipstick plug. But plan is here to, I need to hone the cylinder or deglaze it. I am putting new rings in it, so I need to get it prepped for the rings. All right, so I'm going to use this 3-finger hone. This has got medium stones on it. I'm going to pre-lube the stones. I've already wiped the cylinder walls all down. Again, if you haven't watched the other video, these cylinders are in spec, dimensionally in all ways. I'm not trying to refinish or repair them. I'm simply deglazing them or slightly roughening them up so we can put the new rings in and get them to seat. Okay, so I think I'm going to add some pressure. It's not cutting very much, I can tell you that. I'll make some adjustments and I'll bring you back. All right, so I think I got this dialed in. I'm going to show you what cylinder 1 looks like versus cylinder 2. So I increased the pressure of the hone and slowed down with it. Being it's a stone hone, it's not going to get into, the areas as well as like one of those dingle ball hones, but it also will show you better of where the cylinders may be worn a little bit. Looks like maybe where the second compression ring stops, it's a little bit of a low spot, but again, I'm not going to try to hone it until everything cleans up perfectly. The idea is just to get this cylinder ready to accept new rings. So this one's basically done, and I'm going to go ahead and do the other 3. I'll record some of it. For the most part, I'm going to do it off camera. Okay, got them all honed out. Pretty happy with the surface finish. Like I said, that's not really anything you can feel. It's just wasn't as aggressive in that spot because it's the type of hone it is. It doesn't follow the cylinder as aggressively. It tries to be more uniform, so therefore any low areas show up a little bit more. But I got a nice pattern on that. So next we need to get this thing all cleaned off, and then we can get ready to put the freeze plugs back in. Before we wash this thing, there's one thing left I forgot to do. This is a plug for the rear cam journal. I drilled a hole in it. That's what the manual says to do. I'm going to grab it and see if I can yank it out of there. Here's an O-ring behind here. I guess it's common to leak. So I got a new core plug. We're just going to replace it. Help if I got off the plug. There. Not really seeing the O-ring they're talking about. Looks like this one's a silicone in. Maybe it's been out before. Don't know. All right, well, I think she's ready to wash. I'm gonna soak it down real good with purple power. Apologize if it's a lot of wind noise. It's pretty windy today. Cold, not ideal to be doing any pressure washing, but this project needs to keep moving. Okay, I got the pressure washer ready to go. For fear of damaging my mic, I'm gonna have to set it over here, so the audio is gonna be not so great here, but you guys still can see what's going on. You guys see in the video when I was washing it how the block just flipped over because I didn't have the pin in here. I'm glad nothing bad happened. I pretty much sucked watching that. Pretty well soaked, and like I said, it's cold out here. Yeah, we need to blow everything dry and get these cylinders lubed. Get some oil in these cylinders here. I'm going to give you a good look at how well that's cleaned up. I ended up going over this with a wire brush and cleaning the thing again. But it's as clean as it's been in a long time. Now it's time to prep to put the core plugs in. I'm going to follow the manual here. Exactly, it says to degrease the bore first, and then use this is Loctite 277 thread locker red. It's for large diameter bolts. These are made in the USA, stainless core plugs, and I bought everything off of Rock Auto. And I actually ordered these for a 1990 Dodge truck with a 6BT Cummins, and most all that fits this engine, except for the rings don't. The upper ring is a little thicker on the 6BT, and since this is a non-turbo, it uses a same thickness upper and middle ring, second compression ring. Tap this in with a socket. Looks pretty good. It's flush with the back of the bevel. Fit nice and snug. I'm happy with that. Putting a thin coat on both the block and the core plug. Ow, that hurt. Got my finger. Just trying to make sure I'm getting it even all the way around. Looks pretty good. Okay, I'm gonna put these side ones in. All right. Yep, come here, I'll take the Band-Aid. Thank you.
There's two just in case you need another.
Thank you.
I ate all of it as a cookie.
All right, guys, I'm gonna end this video here. We're pretty much done with prepping this block for reassembly, and I don't want to get into reassembling the inside components on this video. Plus, I'm waiting on, I gotta get one of these, this core plug. I didn't come in my kit, and I need an O-ring for this cam one back here. I could put these in, but I got a block heater, and I don't know which one of these I want to put it into just yet. I'm thinking maybe this needs to go there, so I need to do some research, but you saw how, I can't get it back out. You saw how these were put in, so we're pretty much finished with disassembly. So hope you enjoyed the video. Next one hopefully will be on the cylinder head. So take care, we'll see you later.